What's going on, everybody? It's your main man with the game plan, Corey Giovanny, and we are now tuned into our virtual session of Core Conversations. And today we have a guest, none other than Kalisha Washington, your parenting BFF. Kalisha, welcome to Core Conversations. Talk to us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, man. More than welcome. Now, you have a particular topic, right? And you also have your own podcast, right? Go ahead, plug your podcast. I believe in plugs. Go
Well,
ahead.
I just started the Don't Screw Up Your Kids podcast as a teen mom. I made a lot of mistakes as a parent. Had my son at 18, had my daughter at 19. Then I started college when they were 2 and 3 years old. And so I made a lot of mistakes. My kids, I was not there for them. I was working and going to school. I wasn't one of those people that was partying, but the impact on my children was the same nonetheless. I wasn't there. And so there are a lot of mistakes that I made. I became an educator. I learned a lot of things when I became an educator that I would have done differently if I had started the career first and then had the children afterwards. But all I can do is be the best I can from here on out and help other people do the exact same. So that's the
Hey,
mission and vision of the Don't Screw Up Your Kids podcast. Help other parents be the best that they can be.
no doubt, no doubt. And we're going to plug that link in the description below. So when you guys start viewing this, y'all can click over there because look, I'm going to keep it real 1000. You know what I'm saying? I think I was screwed up as a kid, but I didn't know it, right? You know what I'm saying? You don't know what you don't have when you appreciate what you do have, right? You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
My mom, she was a bit different, right? My mom, she hurt herself at work, so she had to raise me pretty much on her own. With me and her and pops, right? Because she got injured at work. My pops, you know what I'm saying, was very instrumental in teaching me skill set. But I think I missed a lot of the nurturing part of parenting, right? And
Yeah.
how do one as an adult learn not to do that? Because I have 3 babies of my own, and I believe I'm a nurturer, as from a male point of view. But you are you're the BFF. So talk to us. Talk to me. Help me know where I'm
Well,
messing up.
yeah. Well, first of all, I think that kids, they're still your kids even when they're grown, right? So 18
Right.
doesn't cut it off. They're still your kids. You're still parenting. So even though my children are 30 and 31 now, I'm still parenting. But how you go and make sure that a lot of times people will make their parenting decisions solely based on how their parents were, right? My
Mm.
parents did this, I loved it, so I'm gonna do the same thing. Or my parents were horrible, I didn't like it, so I'm gonna do the opposite. But we really do have to deep dive into more things. And there's some professionals that we can learn from. And that's the purpose of my podcast as well, to introduce people who are experts in a certain area in terms of nutrition. My kids
Mhm.
ate oodles and noodles, right? I don't recommend that for anybody's kids. But if I can have nutritionists come and talk about what kids should be eating, and we just have a responsibility to educate ourselves the best we can. There are tons of podcasts out there. Information is at our fingertips. Literally, they're in our pockets, in our purses. We can find ways to be the best that we can. And so my goal is to help make that more accessible, make that be a key place where people can come and find that information about how to be the best parents they can be. But some books that I recommend, there's a book called The Five Love Languages of Children and The Five Languages of Teenagers, which if you've read the Five Love Languages, the original pertain to husbands and wives, same premise, right? Same five love languages. Words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. So kids will understand love the exact same way that adults understand love. And it shows up differently for smaller kids versus older kids. Smaller kids may want the hugs and kisses. Older kids, yeah, they may want to wrestle. They may want something different, but still it's the same premise. And they
Mm.
just, everybody wants to be loved. And it doesn't matter if they're 5 years old or 55 years old, they still want to receive love. So
So when my kid come and start giving me high fives, right? Instead of like hugging me, that's their love language, right?
that's
It's
physical
it's just
touch.
it's maturing, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. So you know what I'm saying? Because my son, he'd be like, he'll hand me a water bottle. I'm like, son, hand me a water bottle, right? And he'll hand it to me, and he'll be like, give me a dot. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, and now I've gotten used to it because he's 13.
Yep.
And as 13, Lord knows, oh God, Lord knows. They're going through areas in their life that I remember when I was 13 and I didn't have the type of parent that I am, right?
Mhm.
So by being the type of person that don't want to have my son make the mistakes I made, I find myself checking like, like, what you doing? Who's that? You liking girls? What's her name? Why you like her? You know what I'm saying? And then
Yep.
also when my daughter, who is his twin, I'm like, you liking boys? What's his name? What y'all talking about? You know what I'm saying? I'm having
Yep.
these questions because of the fact it's like I think, and I can't. And my mom did the best what she did with what she had, right? Most parents, you know what I'm saying, from especially from I would say my familiar culture, their parents came from the South. They came from Mississippi, or
Mhm.
Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana, migrated to California, right? My mom did the same thing. Her brothers and uncles, her brothers and sisters did the same thing. So it's like we knew what they did. Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Y'all get to play outside. We get to play outside, right?
Mhm.
It wasn't really any of that. Everybody sit down at the dinner table and talk. It wasn't
True.
any like sit down on the couch and we all watch TV. And there was there was this saying like, okay, well, the kids' table is here.
Yep.
Or that and I'm about to finish because I know I'm going on a tangent, but this is stuff that I know you can probably help me with. Like
Yes.
kids are supposed to be seen and not heard, and I had a problem with that. But help me out. Talk
Yeah.
to
Yes.
talk to
Yes.
me and the people who are looking.
Yeah. One of the biggest things is the open door of communication. And when kids are upset, our parents and our generation had that mindset of like, you got to be respectful. But I had a friend who had a kid who was going through some things to the point of talking about ending her own life. And I
Mm,
said, you have to give her the open door to communicate with you. And you can't focus on, oh, you raised your voice at me. No, 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 no. Let her get it out. Because if she doesn't get it out, she's going to get it out a different way. And you don't want that.
yeah.
So it's not about, oh, she got to be respectful in how she says it in this moment. She's not trying to disrespect you. She's hurting. Let her get the hurt out. Let the
Mm,
kids get the hurt out so that you can handle it, so you can deal with it, so you can help them fix the things that are hurting. But if you make them be quiet, if you tell them speak when you're spoken to, they can't even tell you when they're hurting.
mm,
And so I think that the previous generations did a disservice in that because they were so focused on being respected, which I think also comes from the South. Because when I moved to Memphis and taught, I saw a lot of that same energy, like you respect me, you say yes sir, and I was like, what's wrong with y'all? Because I'm from California, and we don't do that yes sir type of stuff in schools. Like we're not
right.
demanding kids do that, but you saw that in the South, in slave owning states. So the other thing is when you allow kids to just get their frustrations out, now they can be as honest with you as you want them to be. You don't want them to hold something back and then it shows up later in their behavior. You want them to just get it out. And because that moment is not a moment where it's stand my ground. I want them to say it in a certain way. If they're so upset and they could either curse or kill themselves, I'd
Mm,
rather you curse.
right.
I'd rather you get this off of your chest and then we can move forward. And I can teach you then better ways to express the same information. But if you never get an opportunity to share the information, then I can't even teach you how to say it in a better way that is more respectful. So
Yeah.
those are some of the things.
I agree with that because I remember as a kid I used the F bomb so many times. I didn't really know how to express myself, you know? And I think at 13 and 14, you still learning yourself to the point you don't know how to express yourself. Sometimes you may be influenced by a kid like who wear nice clothes, so you want to wear nice clothes. You might be they wear nice shoes, you want to wear nice shoes. And so the fact that you don't have something could be a form of what I would call like, you know what I'm saying? Um Isolation. It's like everybody got
Mhm.
this and I don't. And
Yep.
then but then I come to the realization my mom was on welfare, so she couldn't, do it. but that didn't change the want, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I find that, thank God that I'm not in that situation with my children, and I listen to them. Like my youngest, not my youngest, my oldest daughter, she wants a spray ground backpack, right? And I'm like, okay, why you want a spray ground backpack? And she's telling me because of the fact that she liked the way it looks. And I'm like, okay, does it have anything to do with your friends got a spray brown backpack? And she's like, well, sort of. And then I was relieved because she was able to trust me with that. If my mama
Yeah.
asked me that, I'd have lied. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, no, I want it because I really like it. Knowing that I see my cousin, I see my homeboy with it, and I wanted it too, right?
Yeah.
And I think the spray ground backpacks for my daughter was the Jordans for me, right?
Yeah.
As a kid, I always wanted a pair of Jordans until I got a pair, and then I wanted another pair. And I'm like, okay, I get it. But the reward system, right? I learned that, and I'm still learning that reward systems are different for each and every different kid, right? I have one daughter who's 10 and she's neurodivergent. She has Downs, but she's the bright of the star. And then I have Raymond, who is very creative. That's my son, and Raven, his twin sister, and she's like very, very outgoing. And I know I got to parent each child differently.
Yeah.
What are some helpful tools where I can be able to help them, but not put them on autopilot? Because I don't want to just have a universal parenting style, because I don't think
Yeah.
that helps.
I agree. This is one of the things I had a very difficult conversation with a friend of mine because I said, how your children turn out as adults is a reflection of our parenting. And I had a friend who said, "Well, I raised all my kids the same, and this one ended up in prison." And I said, "You raising all of them the same is the problem
Mm,
because you can't raise all kids the same." And there was a podcast I was watching where this guy said, all of your kids don't even have the same parents, even though they have the same parents. They're not being raised in the same household. It's not the same experience for them. Each kid's relationship to the siblings are different. Each kid's relationship to the parents are different. The relationship to the mom is different from the relationship to the dad, right? And so all of these things are different and individual. And so you have to individualize it for each kid. Some kids are gonna want. I can give you an example of my two children. My son would take his discipline no matter what. Didn't care. He was going to do what he wanted to do, and he would take the consequence. My daughter was going to avoid the consequence at all costs, no matter what. It didn't matter if she had to lie to get out of it. She was going to lie. My son was never going to lie about it. He was going to tell you what it is and take the consequence, right? And I was raised where I didn't have to lie about anything. I almost never got in trouble, but my grandmother always took the stance: if you tell the truth, you won't get in trouble. Right. And so most of the time I never got in trouble, never got spankings, never got on this punishment or anything like that. Rarely, I can count on one hand. But how we raise our kids is going to determine, and also who they are is going to determine how they respond to everything, whether it's rewards, whether it's consequences, being able to go outside. Some kids don't want to go outside, some will want to stay in the house. One of them might want to just lay up under you on the couch, right, instead of going outside. One of the things that I learned and I think it was the Five Love Languages of Children. I can't remember for sure if it was that one, but I believe it was, where Dr. Chapman said that he had a family. The mom and dad had gone on a trip, and when they came back, one kid was like, "Tell me all about your trip."
yeah.
And that's all she wanted. It was that quality time. The other one was like, "What did you bring me?" Right? And the other kid who was like, "What did you bring me?" It wasn't because they were materialistic, but they took that gift, went in their room, was like, "Where in my room can I find the perfect spot for this thing that my parents bought me? Put it in that spot. Mom, dad, come see where I put it," you know? And it was that thing because receiving gifts was her way to understand love. So coming back with that gift was the way that this person understood love. But the other
Wow.
kid didn't care anything about the gift. They bought gifts for both of them. They're willing to tell about the trip to both of them, but each one of them received it differently. Now, what if they just brought them both gifts and that was it? Well, one kid would be gleeful, the other one would be very disappointed, like feeling unloved. right? What if they came back with no gifts and were just like, let me tell y'all about the trip? One kid would be really excited about that. The other one would be very disappointed. And so, and then as parents, oftentimes they feel like I can do nothing right, right? But it's because they
Eh,
didn't do the right thing for that kid.
right.
And they may try, I tried this and this one wasn't happy. Then I tried that and that one wasn't happy. I can never do it all right. But you got to do the different things for the different kids. And also ask them for feedback. Like
Oh wow.
asking for feedback is so key. You're like, hey, when I did this, and you just really have to be as alert as you can to notice how they initially respond to whatever it is. But also asking for feedback. Hey, when this thing happened, how did that make you feel? How did you feel about this thing? When I took, and I, oh, this is the other thing. I always believe that each kid needs their own parent child time, right? Aside from the other kids. So you can take all the kids to the park. But there needs to be one daddy daughter day, one daddy son day, one mama daughter day, one daughter mother son day, so that they have their own personal time. And I remember I had a lady at church who she had three daughters. She was a single mom, and her one of her daughters, the middle daughter, started wetting the bed. And she was about 6 years old. She's like, she's been potty trained forever while she was wetting the bed. I said, I think she wants your attention. And so I said, have some one-on-one days with each kid, but start with that one. And explain to each kid that you're going to do this for each kid, but today is her day. So the other kids are not like, hey, why is she taking her out and not taking us out?
Right.
Let them know everybody's going to have their day, but today is her day. She did that the first time that kid stopped wetting the bed.
Oh wow.
One time of having a mother daughter day with that one child, that kid immediately stopped wetting the bed. And it may not be a conscious thing. So, you have some parents, I'm going to whoop your behind, or I'm putting you on. It may not be a conscious thing, but the brain is going to do what it can to protect you emotionally. Right. And
Right.
so if your feelings are involved in a certain way and you're feeling like I need time with my mom and I'm not getting it, you don't even know that's the thing that you need. Your brain's going to go to work for you. Now it's shutting down. Now you're wet in the bed. And,
Oh
but
wow.
her
Yeah.
emotional needs weren't being met. And it could have been automatic. It could have been, I don't think she was intentionally like, I'm gonna go pee in the bed tonight.
Yeah. No,
I don't think it was that. I don't think it was conscious. I think it was subconscious.
right. So
Yep.
now that you mentioned that, let me ask you a question about childhood trauma, right? Because that could be in a traumatic experience, right? Even for the kid itself, realizing that they wet the bed, right? Not
Hmm.
understanding that how do and I'm not saying because I know, you know what I'm saying, there's clinicians and therapists for that, but as a best friend who doesn't want you to screw up your kids, how do one deal with childhood trauma as an adult and not pass it on?
Ooh, that's a big one because I think a lot of us have dealt with trauma of some sort.
Right,
So I mean, either parents on drugs, like I'm from that generation that the generation before us got on crack, right? My
right,
mom was on crack. My kid's dad's dad was on crack. Now, this is the challenge that I found because my mom was on crack and died when I was 15. I never used drugs. I literally smoked weed for the first time when I turned 45 because I was in Jamaica and I was like, I'm going to smoke weed. But I never never had a desire to do it and also had a little bit of a fear of becoming addicted because I saw that my mom was addicted. My
right,
kid's dad also, his dad died when he was a teenager. He never used drugs. And so oftentimes that generation right after the trauma is not going to participate in that thing. But guess what? Both of my children smoke weed, but
mm,
they never saw my mom. Like I had a catch at 5 years old, saw my mom laid out on the floor, passed out from drugs. Right. And I'm sitting on her stomach, hitting her, hoping she wakes up, thinking she's dead. That prevented me from using drugs. My kids never saw that.
right,
So it's going to be different for them anyway. But I think facing it head on, any trauma that you've experienced, face it head on. Still get the therapy that you need because it's never too late to get that therapy. Um, and a lot of that trauma, sometimes it's no telling what's going to be the thing that breaks it. But I had some issues in my childhood, even aside from my mom being on drugs. Um, and my mom died in 1991. I didn't forgive her for things that happened in my life until 2019.
Oh, wow.
And the day that that happened, I was in Los Angeles area. I was driving ride share, and I was listening to an episode of Tony Robbins. It was called "I Am Not Your Guru" on Netflix, and he was counseling a lady who said she was dealing with weight issues or whatever. He asked her, "What's your relationship like with your dad?" And her mom was sitting there with her. She said, "I don't have a relationship with my dad." Then he kept digging deeper, found out dad was had been on drugs. He told her, "Call your dad, tell him thank you for all the good things that he's done for you. Don't mention any of the bad things,
Wow.
only think about the good things." And so I pulled over immediately, pulled out my journal and started writing about the good things that my mom did, right? At that moment, I'm crying. As I isolate all the good things that she did and attempted to do. I knew that there was no, she didn't have any bad, she wasn't trying to hurt me in the ways that I was hurt,
Right.
and I cried. But that is when I finally forgave her in my heart. And now all this time from 91 to 2019, I wouldn't say that I didn't forgive my mom. That would never be, it wasn't on the forefront of my mind. It wasn't like, oh, I don't forgive her, but still had a lot of hurt
Yeah.
about her. Once I really forgave her, that hurt was gone. I didn't feel all of the pain. And I remember my grandmother hated it when I would say my mom was, worthless in my life. But when, and now I have those regrets of saying that to my grandma because I know what she was thinking now. She's thinking, I'm talking about her daughter. I'm also talking about her parenting, and she probably took all of that personally. And I wasn't trying to hurt her because she raised me from the time I came home from the hospital. My mom put me in the bed with my grandma, and I slept in the
Wow.
bed with my grandma until I was 13. So she was my everything, and I was never trying to hurt her. But the hurt that was in me for my mom came out, and she got to hear me expressing my anger towards my mom.
Right.
But as an adult, we have a responsibility to get in front of the places where we can learn. I didn't know that I was going to learn that from watching I Am Not Your Guru, but I watch a lot of self help programs. I listen to a lot of podcasts that are self help. And not because I thought I was messed up or anything, but I just wanted to learn more. I'm always about self development and growth. And so because of that, you're going to be a better parent the more you start to learn, the more books you read. And when I became an educator, I started reading the books about kids, and that's when I read the five love languages of children and teens and things like that, because I wanted to be the best I could as a teacher, which also helped me be the best I could as a parent.
Right.
Yeah.
So, because it's almost that time to wrap up, I do have one. Well, I do this thing called 60 seconds of questioning, right? We're gonna answer some questions. It's right off the top, 60 seconds. You know every answer. You know every answer. I wouldn't do it if you didn't. So um right now we are about to do 60 seconds of core. All right. Um ready, go. What is your YouTube channel?
Don't screw up your kids.
How far did you go in education?
I have two master's degrees, one in business administration, one in elementary education.
What do you desire to get out of your YouTube channel?
I want to help parents be the best that they can. I want to make sure that the next generation gets the best version of us as parents that they can get.
And how can they find you on socials?
You can find me at Kalisha Washington on Facebook, but know that that's the raw version. You can find the professional versions at all of the Don't Screw Up Your Kids on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Threads, on LinkedIn. You can find me at Don't Screw Up Your Kids and get the most professional version.
Awesome. Last question. This is going to take a little bit longer than 90 seconds. 1 minute. Um, what will you tell your future you about the current you, how you overcame the past you?
Woo, love it. Um, when I live my full 120 years, at 119, I want to really look back at my life and be able to see that I contributed to the next generation so that it will far outlive me. I expect my words, my videos, the legacy that I live to positively impact my lineage, my heirs, but also as much of the world as I possibly can. I believe that we're meant to do more than just work and pay bills and die. I want to live and I want to teach other people how to live and have their best life right now and in the future.
All right, all right. There you have it. It's your main man with the game plan, Corey Giovanny, and we have your parenting BFF, Kalisha Washington, and we're signing off with Core Conversations, and we out. Peace.